when we do have these highly processed foods, we don't feel very full on them because they don't have the nutrients that we need to feed our body and to fuel it. And when you switch to a whole food, you actually might be able to eat. I always think back to a family member who said to me once, they said, "You eat a lot of food. You eat a lot more food than I eat, actually." And I thought at the time, I do actually eat a lot of food, but I eat very little processed food. I eat very little snack foods and candy. Not to say that I don't ever and that I don't enjoy them, but when you don't eat as much processed food and you eat real food, you can actually eat quite a bit of it and feel full and satisfied. And it's something that a lot of people just aren't as familiar with if they're used to eating the standard American diet. Some strategies for enhancing satiety with meals is anywhere you can to add a protein and or a vegetable or even a fruit, because when you add a protein, you add a food that takes a little longer to get digested and it's known for keeping us fuller. When you add fruits and vegetables, you typically add fiber, which also keeps us full. So those are some keys of adding some nutrients into your eating pattern that you might be able to do without having to actually do a whole lot of extra work or extra cooking. A strategy I've had some people do for breakfast might be to add a protein shake with their banana as they're walking out the door. That's very simple, two very portable items that you can add that would extend your appetite a little longer and keep you full a little longer before you need to eat again. If you compare that to, say, a donut or a bagel, those things leave you in about 2 hours. So the idea behind adding a protein is protein takes a little longer to get digested, and that's another tip and trick I use with my clients. And when we talk about adding fruits and vegetables and adding that fiber content, that can be done with adding those foods in as snacks, combining them. And I think one of the biggest tricks that I do with my clients that people don't always realize is to never eat a carbohydrate without a protein food. Some people say don't have naked carbs is another way to say that. But the idea is that anytime you're having a carbohydrate, which tends to get digested a little quicker, that you add a protein to it and it takes it a little longer. So you're still eating your same food that you love, but now you've combined it with a food that's going to keep you full for a couple more hours than it would have if you would have had the carbohydrate food by itself. So a great example might be an apple. An apple might keep you full for an hour or so. But if you have an apple and a string cheese or an apple and some peanut butter, the peanut butter and string cheese add protein and a little bit of fat. And so it extends how full that apple might keep you. Of course, I don't deem this as a meal by itself typically, but often I'm trying to help people make it through so that they are not starving by the time they get to the next meal. And that's really one of those tips that I work with my clients, especially who are on a weight loss journey, is that a very common thing is that people tend to say, I did really great all day, but then I had this really long stretch. I ate lunch at noon and I can't eat dinner until 8. Of course, you're going to be hungry between noon and 8. Most people are usually hungry about every 4 hours. So finding something that can hold you over from that 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, if you're not going to have dinner for a little longer, is really great. And that's where kind of these nutritious snacks really come into play. And a lot of times people will tell me that they are snacking. And when we explore what the snack is, it tends to be these highly processed foods. So another tip I might tell my clients is that I want you to start thinking about snacks as mini meals, like the foods that you would think of that you know are nutritious. I want you to eat those foods as your snack foods. I do recall a family member of mine being at my house once, and I said I brought out some snacks, and I think I brought out some apples and peanut butter, and I think they thought I was going to be bringing out chips and dip. It's redefining what is a snack, and sometimes that just takes a little bit of reframing. And it's not to say you can't ever have chips and dip. It's just looking at food to fuel your body to keep you full until that next meal.